doing?
Good.
I'm doing well. How have you been these past few weeks?
I've been good, just trying to follow the plan we made. Enjoying the sunshine, trying to get more hikes in, enjoying the rain. Things are going to turn more green. That's exciting.
It's very nice out.
But yeah, just been having a good time.
Yeah. Have you been riding your bike? And...
Yeah, not in the rain, but except yesterday, biked home in a thunderstorm. That was horrible.
I got hailed on.
Oh, okay, so you know, that was horrible. I missed the hail by like an hour.
Good.
But I did get dumped on, and I just remember being at the stoplight. I was very angry at that light.
Yeah,
just
it's a
looking
little
at
embarrassing
it.
too.
It felt so long. Yeah.
Can you walk me through what the past few weeks has looked like, eating wise?
Yeah. So, kind of started our plan of not just having that big meal in the afternoon and try and have more meals throughout the day. And that's honestly really helped. Like just having that change up in my diet and like my habit routine really started to strengthen, that was not feeling so like bloated in the afternoon and having like not as great emotions toward that food. So having this kind of broken up into sections was super helpful.
Okay. How many days were you eating more, or like what we talked about last time, like incorporating an extra meal instead of just eating all at dinner? How many days a week do you think you were achieving that?
Yeah, at first it was like maybe the first day, and I didn't do it the next day, and then the second day I did it 2 days in a row, and then stopped, and then I just noticed like as I kept doing it, things became more and more routine.
Yeah, it became easier.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you walk me through like a day of eating during one of those days that you incorporated an extra meal?
Yeah. In the morning it'd be a bowl of oats. Just try to have something that was quick to make, just boil water. Try to put some fruit, and then I still had a protein shake in the afternoon, around lunch, especially after the gym, and then at dinner I try to have a little bit less, so try to kind of lower it down, like chicken, broccoli, and rice, but just not as much rice and not as much broccoli. Still about the same amount of chicken, but didn't feel like it's bulked at the end. But I also didn't feel as hungry when I got to that point, so that's kind of why it was easier to do that. And then even when I was a little hungrier, I tried to incorporate like an apple, beef jerky around and in between those meals, and that helped a lot too. That's probably pretty much what I do most days.
So you felt that incorporating those extra meals helped you not to overeat at night or pick worse food choices?
Yeah, absolutely. Just having a routine and getting in a habit, I feel like was the most successful part for me. And that kind of kept things easier to go through, for sure.
Did you find that it was difficult at any time to incorporate that extra meal, or not eat larger meals in the evening, or did it just take time?
I think it was just time. At first, because I think it was just the hardest part was just at first. But then as time moved on, it became a lot easier, and then just became kind of regular. And it hasn't been that long since we met, so that was pretty telling. Where especially like this last week has just kind of been pretty consistently the same thing, but just feel like I'm more energized throughout the day without feeling as full. And that's been super helpful.
Okay. Well, in the next 10 minutes that we have together, I'd like to reevaluate that goal that we set, see if there's any changes that we can make, or make a new goal for you moving forward. So when I see you next time, we can reevaluate that and see how you're feeling, just get an idea of what's going on, how we can improve your...
I think the biggest thing too is with the fact it has been so little in time, haven't had a lot of time to see what might have changed and been worse. So mainly seeing, as time goes, I think time will tell kind of is what the biggest thing will be in like consistency. Otherwise, it is harder still, even with meals being more incorporated, getting things cooked still requires time and energy in parts of the day that might not have that energy or time. So keeping, that in mind, still thinking of more fast, quick solutions. The other thing would be variety. I know, you know, right now it's good, but since I am eating the same thing every day, I'm pretty good at not getting too bored, but
Yeah.
you know, as time goes on, if we want this to be like a life change, unless it's just like in this exact moment change, that is definitely one thing that might be an area to maybe develop more and think about.
So you think staying on track would be a-okay, but maybe like adding some variety to make it not so boring and make sure you stick to the plan.
Just like, yeah,
Eating
those
chicken
two
and
things.
rice. So
Yeah, it can get pretty bland.
Do you think your readiness for change is still where it was 2 weeks ago?
I think so, yeah, especially maybe a little more after seeing progress.
Okay.
It's definitely a rewarding cycle when things tend to be, you know, a cyclical
Yeah.
motion where, you know, the more you put in, the more you get out.
Yeah.
So that definitely was a positive that I want to follow up on and keep going with.
I think that's important for following a goal. Like you gotta make sure that, you know, you still want to achieve the goal.
To keep up, yeah.
So I think that's important. And that could also mean changing the goal or adjusting it so it's manageable for you. Just take a look at my notes from last time. So what do you think specifically is working for you?
Right now, I think specifically, probably the result of the week. But what's working, I think, is specifically like lowering the amount of portion size at dinner and trying to incorporate those morning ones. I think that's really working, especially kind of like having more snacks too, I think helped. Because even if I did get hungry, it was easier.
Yeah.
Same thing talking about like the cyclic like factor. When I would eat more, feel more energized, which would make me do more things in the day, which would keep me more busy to not have to worry about, you know, especially when I'm in periods of being like bored or like gapped. That's when, you know, you don't want to cook, you get a little more lethargic. So I think that was really an area that helped a lot. It was super helpful. But yeah, I think that was kind of the biggest part.
So what do you think about the goal that we set last time? Do you think we should change it? Do you think it's good where it is? Do you want to make a new goal that's unrelated?
I think as far as goals go now, I think having a good maintaining goal would probably be good, because I feel like at first, you know, we were more thinking, you know, more reserved, so we could like start small and grow big. But like with how successful it's been last time, I probably want to either make a new goal or just kind of set one up where it's just an idea of like a good baseline, if that makes sense. Kind of like go into maintenance, because I think more time between this one and next one, our next appointment would be more helpful. So I can kind of like see how I get into things, because like it's great now, but I kind of want to, you know, find a way to maintain this level and see what would alter that in the future.
So how many, do you think 4 days a week you're incorporating those extra meals, or 5?
Right now it's probably like 5 or 6,
So
you know,
just
weekdays for sure.
You're missing.
Day or two, maybe just a little busier, where I kind of miss it, like miss a meal or like that, but it's pretty consistent, and it more comes to situation. It's not as much where it's like the norm is the opposite. The norm is what it was. Now the norm is this, and then out of the norm is when I'm not able to eat more food throughout the day.
How do you think you could be successful on that one day off by incorporating more meals?
I think maybe planning to have that day be a day I add variety. You know, since it's like at a point where it's like 80%, 90% good. Having a plan that's based around, you know, exploring on those days where it's like, oh, you didn't eat as much, but you tried something new, and like I can maybe incorporate that later, or even use that day as like a meal prep day. If I have like more time, or don't end up, you know, maybe like slow cook a soup or something where it's like throw everything in and wait. So even if I do miss those meals, I'm preparing myself for the week, and then having, you know, food when I'm cooking stuff, I can probably cook others.
Yeah.
So probably using it more as like a maintenance day,
Yeah.
or just saying like, oh, like I'm able to eat as much today, maybe set myself up for success later. I think that'd probably be what I'd want to go for.
Have you ever looked into like meal prep services or ones that deliver meals?
No, not too much. I feel like I'm fine with cooking for myself, especially with cost. I don't really want to worry about having people bring me food or having that all set up.
Right.
I'm pretty good the way with where I'm at now. I think just, you know, learning more meals with myself. I think maybe taking a cooking class might be helpful.
Yeah.
Like looking into places that might teach me more. You know, if there's any websites that you recommend after, of course, that have like good recipes based around, you know, protein and macros and micros that are healthy. I think that's better than probably like hiring out because I don't think I can afford the other side.
It's expensive, I totally understand. But I think those cooking workshops are a good way to learn culinary skills and things that you just wouldn't think of. So that would be a good option, and I can send you a few recommendations.
Perfect, thank you.
So to reassess your goal, I might suggest adding more protein, like to your breakfast, because it sounds like you're just eating oatmeal with nothing else. So building more balanced meals could be beneficial in aiding satiation throughout the day. If we don't like that goal, we can stick to what we're at. We can pick a goal that includes adding more variety in your diet and ways to achieve that. So just let me know what you're thinking.
Gotcha. Yeah, definitely probably mixing it up. I do feel like there's a few meals that might just be filler. So yeah, meal ideas that are based around like more complete stuff will probably be what I look into.
Yeah.
Looking at, you know, like dinner is pretty balanced, but like, you know, the smaller stuff like breakfast, maybe trying to figure out. Maybe incorporating like counting calories for a week or two was something I'd consider. I don't know how I would do that though. I don't know how to count calories, so you know, I don't really know what I'm eating. So do you have information on how to do that?
I could definitely help you out afterwards and teach you how to count some calories to get a better idea of what you're eating for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and what your entire day looks like, and meeting that protein goal that you were talking about.
Okay, what would you need from me to do that? Just bring you like kind of everything I've eaten in one day, and then give that to you, and then break it down.
We can put that into an app. I can show you what app.
Okay, cool.
Or show you a few apps that you can choose from, and then that'll kind of just break down calories per ingredient, per meal,
Gotcha.
per day.
And then go from there.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't know too much about nutrition as a whole. Just, you know, try to eat proportionally, but you know, when it's in the full day, you can't see the full scope. So definitely changing it up from there would be helpful.
Yeah. I might also suggest, if you're trying to get more variety, like getting a subscription to like cooking websites. They always send out great recipes that you're like, I never knew that you could add this to this dish and it tastes like that.
Gotcha.
So that might be a good tool to use.
Gotcha.
That's what we're looking for.
Just trying to like broaden horizons.
Yeah. Okay, so what goal are we looking towards?
I think definitely just keeping, I think a new goal would be, you know, increasing variety. So like looking at a few different sources for different recipes and how to understand what those calories are is probably what I want to focus on. So if we can make a goal based around just adding variety and calorie learning education on that, I think that'd be great.
Okay. I think another great tool is like when you go to the grocery store, like pick 3 to 4 different vegetables, and then when you're coming home to meal prep or whatever, you have variety. So it's just about figuring out what to do with it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So really just like, again, trying to just go through and like see like different stuff and then just try and then just see what tastes good and then write down what does and go from there. Okay.
So I think maybe keep your breakfast how it is, keep your lunch how it is, and maybe we could add more variety to dinner meals, just so we're not like bombarded with change all at once. I would try to do that like while you're meal prepping, just pick a few different recipes to make, or short ones that you can make during the weekday, so you don't have to cook all at once.
Gotcha.
But how does something like that sound?
That sounds pretty good. And then for a follow-up, what were you thinking? I was thinking like longer than 2 weeks this time.
Yeah.
Do you have an amount of time you think would be best with
I
that?
think 4 weeks would be okay.
Okay.
As long as you feel comfortable with the incorporating more meals and that's not going to fall off, then I think adding some variety and then meeting again in 4 weeks to see how it's going, I think that would be great.
Perfect. All right. Well, that sounds like a plan.
It was nice to see you again, Kat.
It was nice to see you too.